Do you know what are figures of speech? We learned about parts of speech. I mean, we know what are parts of speech, right? Noun, pronoun, verb, and everything. So these are figures of speech. Okay? And
Okay.
some of these are very important, and I want you to understand them. Okay? So, in common usage, a figure of speech is a word which means, or a phrase which means something more or something other than what it seems to say. Say you read something, but the meaning is actually something else. That is what a figure of speech is. Okay? So
Okay.
it doesn't take into account the literal meaning of that sentence. Okay?
Yeah.
So it can be a metaphor or simile, it can be anything. And it can also be alliteration or exaggeration. It can also be personification and stuff like that. Okay? So these things do not literally mean what they say. Okay? They always have a different meaning connected to it. So that's why it's called a figure of speech. Okay? Figures of speech lend themselves particularly well to literature and poetry. So you often see the usage of various kinds of figures of speech, especially when you read novels or when you read poems. You do read novels, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And poetry, obviously, you must have had it in, I mean, you have it in your school.
Yeah.
Right. So, most of the times, the usage of figure of speech is done to make your language very fancy and flowery and everything. So, it just gives a little spark to your language because you don't actually mean the things that you're saying, it's something else. Okay.
Yeah.
They also pack a punch in speeches and movie lines. Indeed, these tools are around in nearly every corner of life. So you can see the usage of figures of speech in almost every area of literature. And they can easily catch eyes and highlight the purpose of use. Okay? It is designed to make a comparison and create a dramatic factor while writing or speaking. So basically, it adds spark, it adds drama, it adds a little fascination to whatever you're writing. So it's a figurative language which may consist of either a single word or a phrase. Okay, and it enhances the beauty of your writing. It makes the sentences deeper and leaves the reader with a sense of wonder. It also brings life to words used by the writer. The figure of speech not only shows the writer's intent but also his purpose in using such language. So we have a few types of figure of speech, and I'm sure you're familiar with it, but we'll just go through it once again. Okay. So are you familiar with something called alliteration?
Yeah.
What is alliteration?
Um. Alliteration.
Have you heard of something called tongue twisters?
Yeah.
So what do you see in tongue twisters? Like what is something that you
Like
can observe?
they have the same starting letter.
Yes, very good. So every word begins with the same consonant sound or same vowel sound. Okay, and it's just to create a tricky effect or something like that. Okay, it makes it a little humorous and stuff. Okay, so alliteration is a literary device in which series of words begin with the same consonant sound. It is used to emphasize something important that a writer or a speaker would like to express. So read any two of these examples.
Becky's beagle barked and bayed, becoming bothersome for Billy.
Yes.
Can you keep the cat from clawing the couch? It's creating chaos.
Yeah, very good. So, do you understand what alliteration is now?
Yeah.
Same consonant sounds used in a series of words. Okay. Next is something called a simile. Okay. A simile is a figure of speech which directly compares two things. Similes differ from other metaphors by highlighting similarities. So, especially when you're using similarities or similes, you have the words such as like, as, so, or than. So the purpose of a simile is to spark an interesting connection in a reader's mind. The simile is one of the most common forms of figurative language, the most common form, okay, simile. Examples can be found just about everywhere, especially from poems to song and also in everyday conversations. So similes are used in literature to make writing more vivid and powerful, and in everyday speech they can be used to convey meaning very quickly and effectively. For example, when someone says he's as busy as a bee, so do they mean it literally that the person is like a bee?
Oh, no.
No, it just means that the person is working hard because bees work hard, right?
Yeah.
Or if someone says I'm as snug as a bug in a rug, so it doesn't actually mean that the person is a bug, right? It just
No.
means that the person is very comfortable or they're cozy. Okay? So as
Yeah.
cute as a kitten, as happy as a clam. Why do you think it's as happy as a clam?
I don't know.
Have you seen when clams are open and stuff? Have you seen the way they look?
Yeah.
They look like they're smiling, broad smiles, right? It looks
Yeah.
like they're laughing. So
Yeah.
as happy as a clam, as bold as brass, as bright as a button, as shiny as a new pen, as hot as hell. So you've seen people using these, right?
Yeah.
Whenever you see something like as or like and so, remember that it's a simile. Okay?
As as cold as ice.
Very good. Next.
Um, as light as a feather.
Yes, very good. Next. One more.
Um, as blind as a bat.
Yes, perfect. Why do you think it's as blind as a bat?
Because bats are blind.
Yes. We have something called as a metaphor. Okay, so it is just like simile, however, it does not contain words like as, like, so, or anything. Okay, a metaphor is a figure of speech which describes an object or an action in a way that isn't literally true, but it helps to explain the idea. Okay, never take the literal meaning of a metaphor. All right.
Yeah.
So a metaphor states that one thing is another thing. It equates those two things not because they actually are the same, but for the sake of symbolism. Okay, you must be familiar with the word symbolism, right?
Mm.
So never take a metaphor literally, because it will sound very strange. Okay, so metaphors are used in poetry, literature, anytime someone wants to add some color to their language. Especially, you can find metaphors in poetry and novels. So, metaphor, to define it perfectly, it's a word or a phrase for one thing that is used to refer to another thing in order to show that they are similar. It can be an object, an activity, or an idea as well that is used as a symbol for something else. Okay. So, for example, when we take the examples of love is a battlefield. Okay. So, for example, imagine what these metaphors would look like if you look at them literally. Never take it literally, but say if you take it literally, it becomes rather silly, right?
Yeah.
So when I say love is a battlefield, is it really a battlefield? Do people fight with swords?
No.
No. Bob is a couch potato. Does it mean that Bob is a potato?
No.
No. What does it mean when I say Bob is a couch potato?
Yeah, he sits on the couch too much.
Uh, Again, I mean, that's one of them. But it just states that Bob is very lazy. He doesn't do too much work. He just sits, does nothing.
Oh.
Baby or firework, does it mean that, the person is actually going to burst?
No.
No. Then what could it mean? It could mean that the person is really amazing to look at or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty simple. So metaphors are nothing but sentences which mean something else. Okay. but they're used as symbols. So even you can see here are some of the metaphors used by famous people. Okay, so could you read the first one and tell me what it means? Try to tell me what it means.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances.
What could it mean? So it's not like
We
literally we are all in a drama, right? We are not
we
on
all
stage.
have we all have different talents.
Yes, yes, and that people come and go. So they have their exits and their entrances, as in people are born and people die, right?
Okay.
And the world is stage. So life is like a drama basically, but it doesn't literally mean we are all on the stage and we are acting, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So we what this basically means is we each have a role to play in our lives, okay, and we each have our exits and our entrances. So birth and death. America has tossed its cap over the wall of space. So have Americans really tossed their caps over space?
Uh, no,
No. Then what does it mean?
I
It
don't
means
know.
that they've become successful,
Oh,
right? So they've
yeah.
achieved something that is beyond the wall of space. So it just means that they're very successful. Okay. Chaos is a friend of mine. And chaos is a friend of mine could mean Bob Dylan is someone who thrives in situations that challenge him. Okay.
Uh,
A good conscience is a continual Christmas. You ain't nothing but a hound dog crying all the time. So the person is not literally calling the person a dog, right? He just means that the person just keeps crying and cribbing all the time. Then we have something called verbal irony. Okay. Verbal irony occurs when a speaker speaks something contradictory or say opposite to what he intends to say. So it's an intentional product of a speaker and it's contradictory to his or her emotions and actions. To simply define it, it occurs when a character uses a statement with underlining meanings that contrast with the literal meaning. So, sorry. So I'll just give you an example so that you'll understand it better. Okay. So there's a woman who's working at an office, and what she does is she spills her coffee in the morning. Okay, on a white silk blouse. So she's wearing white clothes and she spills coffee on it, and then she says this day couldn't be off to a better start. So do you think that she actually thinks that it's good that this happened?
no.
This day couldn't be off to a better start, she says. Like, oh great, like when we when we mess up something and we say, oh great, this
Yeah.
had to happen. So do you think we wanted this to happen?
No.
No. So that is what is verbal irony. Okay. A team of
Yeah.
co-workers is about to begin a major project when someone asks if they can have a 5-minute break. The team leader responds saying, "Sure, it's not like we have anything better to do." So do you think the team leader is actually agreeing to this?
No.
No, right? So that is what is verbal irony. Is it clear? It's very simple.
Yeah.
So could you give me more examples of verbal irony? Look it up. It's fine.
Like what great weather we're having. There's like a hurricane.
Yes, very good. Anything else?
Um, no, that's all I had.
No, that's fine. But it's as long as you understand what it means. No, you understand the concept, right?
Yeah.
So we often use these, especially when we are so irritated and annoyed. We often use verbal irony, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you understood this?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next is something called a pun. Have you heard of what a pun is?
Yeah.
We often see. Where do we see puns often?
Like jokes.
Everyday conversations also, right? So there are people who use puns a lot. I mean, I for one use a lot of puns. to the extent that it annoys my friends. So a pun is also known as paronomasia. Okay, is a form of wordplay that exploits multiple meanings of a term or of similar sounding words. Okay, and why do they do that? It's intended for a humorous or a rhetorical effect. So a pun is a joke which makes a play on words. It relies on words that are similar in spelling, sound, or meaning to make their listener laugh. Okay.
Mm.
For example, a bicycle can't stand on its own because it's too tired. So you get what this means, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So no matter how much you push the envelope, it will still be stationary. A pessimist's blood is always B negative. Two peanuts walk into a bar and one was assaulted. Reading while sunbathing makes you well read. Oh my gosh, these are so great. So yeah, so now you understand what puns mean?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Alright. So you know what figures of speech are, right? Even irony, the one that you mentioned, a pilot having a fear of heights and everything, is also a figure of speech. Okay?
Yeah.
Alright. You can see this, right? I'm having some connectivity issues today.
Yeah.
Alright. So these are some of the statements, and you just have to identify whether they are similes, metaphors, or personification. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. What is the first one?
Um, Death lays its icy hands on kings.
Yes. Is it a simile, metaphor, or a personification?
Uh, Personification.
Yes. Very good. Because death doesn't actually, I mean, that's so ironic. I mean, death doesn't actually have life, right? But
Yeah.
here they've given life to death. All right. Sounded so complicated. Okay. My love is like a red rose.
Uh, Simile.
Very good. It's because there's a usage of the word like. Okay. He is a lion.
Metaphor.
Very good. The wind wrapped its icy fingers around my body.
Um, Personification.
Perfect. The boat was tossed like a cork on the waves.
Um, Simile.
Yes. Wherever you see like and as, it is a simile. Okay. He was as brave as a lion.
Uh, Simile.
Very good. All the world's a stage and all the men and women are merely players. They have their exits and their entrances.
Um, uh,
Just did
Verbal
this
irony.
example. We just did this example. Men's world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and entrances.
Simile.
It's a metaphor.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. So because there's no usage of word like and as also here, right? It's in William Shakespeare's As You Like It. Have you read it by any chance? Or have you heard about it?
no.
Okay, okay. It's a very famous play by Shakespeare. Do you have any Shakespeare related works?
No.
Okay. Have you have you known any Shakespeare's famous works?
No.
Romeo and Juliet?
Oh, yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Death, where is thy sting, O grave? Where is thy victory? What is this? Is a simile, metaphor, or personification?
Um, Simile? Well, no, not simile. Metaphor.
How is it a metaphor?
Uh,
Or could this be personification? Does death sting?
No.
And grave, I mean, does it do something that it
Oh, yeah.
achieves something? No, right? Yeah, so it's personification. Okay. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art, thou art is nothing but you are. Okay. Thou art more lovely and more temperate. William Shakespeare. So what is this? Shall I compare
Metaphor?
thee to a summer? Yes, very good. Blind justice was not on his side.
Personification?
Perfect. Life is like a box of chocolates.
Uh, Simile.
Yes, perfect. Have you heard this phrase before? Life is like a box of chocolates?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just wondering. I mean, have you seen the movie called Forrest Gump by any chance?
No, I've seen a clip before.
Yeah, yeah. So that's where he says, life is like a box of chocolates. Ria heard the last piece of pie calling her name.
Um, personification.
Very good. My alarm yelled at me this morning.
Personification.
Very good. Her eyes are like her eyes are diamonds.
Metaphor.
Yes. She's a shining star.
Simile.
She is a shining star. She's not like a shining
Oh,
star.
metaphor.
Yes, very good. So you're clear with these, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, we'll just do one last simple quiz. Okay. Yeah. Can you see this? Hello.
Yeah.
Can you see this website?
Yeah.
Okay. So verb moods. Okay. I hope you do remember what verb moods are.
Yeah.
All right. So give it a try. Okay. Eat a healthy breakfast. So whichever sentence that is marked in bold, you have to identify whether it's what kind of verb mood it is. Okay.
Um, I forgot.
It's okay. It's imperative.
Oh,
Where is it? Subjunctive. I think it's subjunctive. I'm confused. Okay, it's imperative. Yeah. This one. The teacher asked that she complete the missing assignments within 2 weeks. So, what is the verb mode which you use when you're asking someone or requesting someone something?
uh, subjunctive.
You sure?
Yeah, I think so.
Very good. Oops. Okay. Using your new telescope, can you see Saturn's rings clearly in the night sky? So, can you see the Saturn's rings clearly? What kind of verb mode is it?
Um, interrogative.
Yes, that's because the person is asking something, right?
Yeah.
If Jasmine could visit New York City, she would ride the elevator to the top of the Empire State Building.
Uh,
This is actually conditional. Okay, so whenever you see the word if, it implies a condition. Okay, this was another verb mode which we did not do, but whenever you see the usage of the word if, you remember that it's conditional. Okay, so when do you generally use the word if? While stating some conditions, right? You will gain more marks if you study, right? So you're putting
Yeah.
conditions, right? I will help you if you help me, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So that's conditional. Okay. Regardless of the weather, Emmett ran 5 miles every day in preparation for the marathon. What is this?
Indicative.
Yes. Why is it indicative?
Uh.
So is it stating facts, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Abigail's father insisted that she call him immediately after upon landing at the airport.
Subjunctive.
Yes. Okay. I would devote more time to trumpet practice if the day were longer.
Conditional.
Yes, very good. So there's a condition, right? If the day was longer, only then I would continue with my trumpet practice. How is it subjunctive? It should be indicative, conditional. Which verb is it? If the day were longer. Oh yeah, I would devote. So the person is saying it. It's subjective in nature. That's why it's subjunctive. But it actually makes sense if it's more in conditional, right? I mean,
Yeah.
when the person says, if the day was longer, I would have worked more. I don't know why they say it's subjunctive. Work more self-engaged. So, yeah, you're clear with these, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there was one more activity. Hold on, okay? Let me just see. I'd saved one page. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just do this quickly and we'll end the class for today. Okay?
Mm.
All right. First one. It is important that the report be submitted by 9 a.m. on Monday morning.
Um. Subjunctive.
It's imperative.
Oh.
Okay? Because the report should be submitted by 9 a.m. on Monday morning. Okay?
What's imperative again?
Imperative is commanding someone to do something. You want that person to complete something, or you want that person, you're requesting someone something. Requesting, commanding, instructing, warning, it's all imperative.
Mm.
Okay? If the report is not finished by the end of the day Friday, we will have to work over the weekend to meet Monday morning deadline. So what could this
Conditional.
be? Yes, very good. Actually, the option should be there. It's not there. But okay, say if it's not conditional, it's indicative. Okay? Because imperative and subjunctive don't apply here. So if the report is not finished by the end of the Friday, then the person will have to work a lot the next. Okay? So it's
Okay.
indicative also. But again, it's actually conditional. We would have met the deadline if the tasks had been better delegated.
Uh.
Time it's subjunctive. Okay?
Yeah.
So the person is feeling that I should have worked more hard. Okay? Or we should have worked we could have met the deadline if the tasks were better delegated. So it's the person's perception that the task should have been done in some other manner. Right?
Right.
Okay. The owner asks that the last person to leave at night turn off all the lights and take out any trash.
Um,
So here it's the owner asking. So what could this be?
is it imperative?
Yes, very good. So imperative is nothing but commanding someone to do something. Okay, commanding, requesting, instructing, and warning. Okay, so do not go there, beware of dog, and all this. Those are all imperative statements. Okay,
Yeah.
if you are the last person to leave at night, turn off all the lights and take out any trash.
Uh, conditional?
Out of these three,
Imperative?
yes, very good. I wish that my favorite neighborhood cafe was still open on Sundays.
Subjunctive?
Yes, very good. Why is it subjunctive? It's because I wish, right?
Yeah.
Go to another cafe. There are plenty to choose from in your neighborhood.
Imperative?
Yes, very good. How long does it take you to complete your daily workout routine?
Interrogative?
Yes. I don't know why they've given these three options. It should be interrogative, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no option either. God bless you, Karen. You're such a thoughtful, giving person.
Indicative?
Subjunctive. Indicative is something when you're stating facts. Say if the now you have to convert the sentence into indicative, it would be God blessed Karen
Oh,
because she was a thoughtful and giving person.
well.
So when we met on our annual trips to Alberta, we would always spend an afternoon in the downtown Calgary.
Indicative?
Yes, very good. So you seem to be pretty clear with verb moods as well.
Yeah.
Okay. In the next class, I would like to continue with a few more figures of speech that are generally used. And then in the class after that, I mean, according to your syllabus, you have to make use of figures of speech and write sentences or paragraphs. You can also type it. You can share your screen that time and you can type stuff also. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So we could do that for the next class. Okay. So shall we end the class for today?
Okay. Yeah.
Any doubts?
No.
Any inquiries? Anything?
No.
All right. So you're clear with all these, right?
Yes.
Okay. We'll end the class for today. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.